75%. Let's just start with that number for a second. What if I told you that this single figure represents the chunk of your online life that, well, you don't actually control? It's a huge number, and it points to this hidden system that's shaping your world as we speak. So what's it all about? It means that 3/4 of the videos you're watching on TikTok, you didn't search for them. They were chosen for you. But this isn't just a TikTok thing. It's about an invisible architect that's designing your entertainment, your news feed, and maybe even what you think. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. We are pulling back the curtain on your AI curated life. We're going to look at the good, the bad, and some of the genuinely weird stuff that comes with this amazing technology. So here's our game plan. First, we'll figure out what this algorithmic self even is. Then we'll get into the awesome convenience it offers before, digging into the darker side of control. After that, we'll look at some predictions that are just uncanny, and we'll wrap it all up by asking the biggest question of all. Are you still in the driver's seat? Okay, let's dive into our first section, your algorithmic self. I kind of like to think of it as the ghost in your machine. So get this, every single time you're online, you're feeding this system. Every link you click, every video you linger on for just a second too long, every article you scroll right past, it's all data. And all that data is being used to build a model of you, a digital profile of your personality, what you want, and what you're probably going to do next. And this profile actually has a name. It's your digital doppelganger. Now, don't think of it as some static photo. Oh no. Think of it as a living, breathing digital twin that's constantly learning, constantly evolving, and getting scarily good at predicting your next move. So, how does it pull this off? Well, it's basically a 4-step process. First, it collects just massive amounts of your data. Then, its AI brain recognizes patterns in your behavior. From there, it builds these models to predict what's going to grab your attention. And finally, boom, it delivers that perfectly tailored content right to your screen. And if you want to understand the sheer scale of this, look at this number, 3,000. That's the average number of data points your online activity generates to feed this doppelganger every single day. It's happening all the time, and most of us don't even notice. But listen, all this data crunching isn't just for some, evil master plan. It actually powers systems that can be incredibly helpful. So let's start with the bright side of all this, curated convenience. I mean, the upside here is undeniable. On average, these smart systems can save us 5 to 7 hours a week just by cutting through all the noise. In education, AI personalization is boosting completion rates by 23%. In healthcare, it's helping people stick to their medication plans 31% better. And of course, it's how you find that new band on Spotify that you just can't stop listening to. So here's the bottom line for the good part. This tech can be a seriously powerful tool. It makes things efficient, sure, but it also creates those amazing little moments of serendipity. When you discover something you absolutely love that you never would have found on your own. But, and you knew there was a but coming, that convenience comes at a price. And this is where the story gets a lot more complicated. Let's get into section 3, the bad, curated control. This is where helpful tips start to feel a little more like, control. In this chart right here, it says it all. A whopping 63% of us are mostly seeing content that just confirms what we already think. And yet only 14%, a tiny fraction, feel like they actually get how their data is being used to build that reality for them. That huge gap between those two bars, that's where the trouble starts. So these algorithms create these powerful filter bubbles that don't just show us what we like, they actively hide different points of view. They're designed to be addictive, they bring up some really serious privacy issues, and as we're starting to see, they're even threatening jobs in creative fields and the service industry. It really is a classic dilemma. As one commentator put it so simply, I think AI can be a double-edged sword. It is great, and it is also bad. That just perfectly captures the conflict, right? The incredible potential versus some really serious risks. Okay, so now we get to the part that honestly feels like it's pulled from a sci-fi movie, but I promise you, it is 100% real. Welcome to section 4, the weird, uncanny predictions. This is where the algorithm's power gets really personal. This is the classic story, almost a legend in tech circles. Years ago, Target's algorithm saw a teenage girl buying things like unscented lotion and certain vitamins, and it started sending her coupons for diapers and cribs. It figured out she was pregnant before she had even told her own family. That's the kind of predictive power we're talking about. And it's only gotten more personal since then. Check this out. Just based on what you listen to, Spotify can apparently predict your mood with 82% accuracy. And get this, some dating apps now claim they can predict if you and someone else will be compatible with 85% accuracy just by analyzing how you text. They are literally learning to decode our emotions. And this is where we see that razor-thin line between something being amazingly helpful and deeply invasive. Your watch might pick up on a serious heart condition like atrial fibrillation before your doctor ever does. Life-saving? Absolutely. A little bit unsettling? For sure. So, after all that, the good, the bad, and the weird, it all leads us to our final and most important section. Let's talk about the unfiltered truth and ask, are you actually still in control? Just look at these numbers. A massive 72% of people, that's almost 3 out of 4, do not feel confident managing their own digital footprint. And yet, that footprint is the fuel for this entire system. There's this huge, frankly scary gap between the system's power and our own. So what's the answer? It's probably not to just unplug from the world entirely. It's about developing something experts are calling algorithmic literacy. Basically, it means understanding how these systems work so you can make conscious, intentional choices. It's becoming an absolutely essential skill for staying in charge of your own life. So I'll leave you with this one question. It really gets to the very heart of our relationship with all this tech. I want you to take a look at your own feeds, your own recommendations, and really ask yourself, is your algorithm serving you, or are you serving it? The answer might just define a whole lot more than your digital life.